What do you think? I mean, I didn't have you on for medical advice, et cetera, but what is your take on knowing what you know about Hong Kong and other places? What's your take on what the fallout will be from this in terms of number of restaurants that will fold? Because if you have a lot of penetration in these areas, I'm sure you gave people a month or two off for their bills.
Yes. Yep.
You had to do that proactively, or?
And for certain areas of the country or certain areas of the world, we have actually waived fees through the end of the year.
Wow. So that's really difficult. So you've got to deal with this crazy crisis, managing people working from home, all this craziness, and then you have to turn off your revenue stream in some cases. Oh my Lord, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's been...
What was that board meeting like?
Well, I think we talked about, the brand we're trying to create. There's also market pressures where competition in the market has given away their product for free through the end of the year. So you have a decision to make about whether we try to match that or not. And also, more so, how do we lead? I think the easy decision was to waive the fees. What we really are thinking about, though, is our platform is going to help operators in the up and the down. And actually, this is creating an opportunity for us because we create restaurant profitability. If they're only relying on third parties, they can't own the relationship. They can't drive LTV. They can't drive profitability.
Right. So they're going to be more attuned to this. And also, if they're only seating 50% of as many guests, they want those seats to go to the ones who are going to spend the most money. And there's going to be demand. What percentage of restaurants do you think will not reopen? Do you have any insight into that, where people just said, hey, take the machines back, we're done?
Yeah, it's so early for us to see. And a lot of our segment, 75% of our customer base is actually multi-unit enterprise.
Got it.
So we've been a little bit insulated. That said, across the US, my guess is 30% of the restaurants
Wow, 1 in 3. And despite all this, and that's why you're on the program today, is to announce that you did a $50 million Series B led by Providence Strategic Growth. I'm assuming that deal was in the works before the pandemic hit.
Yes.
And then the pandemic hits. When you hadn't closed it at that point in March?
We had
closed
not
this in April. When did you close? May, June? It's like right around now?
It's all blurry. Yeah, May, June, end of April, beginning of May.
So you're working on this $50 million deal. This is obviously a very big investment firm to be able to write that check. Does all of a sudden everybody sit down at the table and retrade and say, hey, it's a new reality. We got to cut the valuation. We want these extra terms. Or is it just, hey, we made the commitment. We're going to go straight forward. How do you negotiate a giant deal like this and then having the pandemic blow up right in the middle of it?
Yeah, that was, one for the books, for sure. It was something that I got a lot of advice on, and really, and I'll answer definitely more directly. Starting with what's most important, we went after the round opportunistically. Luckily, we didn't have to raise the round, and we had built relationships with many of the investors that we're talking to, as as most companies do, long before. When the pandemic hit, we were still early in the term sheet. More or less, it was done, but still early enough. And some of the terms did get retraded to reflect the market realities,
right?
And it was give and take, really tough conversations. Ultimately, it was still a win, still a significant up round from our last valuation. And luckily, we have our current investors as well as PSG coming in that really believe in the company. So it wasn't what we started, but it was still a great outcome.